Happy Friday, everybody. I am back with another Friday DBR Takeover. And in case if you've missed me these past few weeks, my name is Stuart Huggins, and I am the Director of Youth Ministries at St. John United Methodist Church, and I also serve as the student intern here at the Wesley Center in Chattanooga. And I am here on a cold and rainy Friday morning. I almost said afternoon, but it is 9:30 in the morning right now. But I want to bring you guys our DBR for the day and wish you guys off on a safe and healthy weekend. And our DBRs for today are Psalm 85, 1 through 2, as well as 8 through 13, Jeremiah 1, 4 through 10, and Acts 11, 19 through 26. And instead of just hitting Jeremiah 1, 4 through 10, Jeremiah kind of sets up this entire big story that and a lot of history goes into Jeremiah. So I figured let's go ahead and just do the entire book of Jeremiah, a big summary breakdown of it. So that's what we're going to do today. So Jeremiah 1, 4 through 10 starts like this. The word of the Lord came to me saying, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Alas, sovereign Lord, I said, I do not know how to speak. I am too young. But the Lord said to me, do not say I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. Don't be afraid of them, for I am with you and I will rescue you, declares the Lord. Then the Lord reached out his hand and touched my mouth and said to me, I have put words in your mouth. See, today I appoint you over nations and kingdoms to uproot and tear down, to destroy and overthrow, to build and to plant. So the book of Jeremiah is it's a prophetic oracle. And there's also a lot of narrative history that goes into it, although not completely in chronological order necessarily. The prophet Jeremiah wrote it sometime during his ministry between 1626 and 586 BC. Its purpose was to warn off destruction that we're about to face and to urge Judah to return and to submit to God. Jeremiah was a priest who God called to be a prophet. Jeremiah identifies their sins and treacheries, and he wants them to realize the serious condition of their sinful ways. He then gives prophecies of the coming and the new covenant that would eventually soon be made. So in chapters 1 through 10, God calls Jeremiah and proclaims, I have put words in your mouth, which is chapter 1, verse 9. Jeremiah condemns Judah for their sins and attacks their faithlessness, obviously angered over their blatant sins. 11 through 28, Jeremiah warned of the destruction that would be poured out on Judah. He writes about God's hardships, dispense of holy anger. Excuse me, guys. At one point, God says, I will not listen when they call to me because of their disaster, which is 12, verse 14. Chapter 12, verse 14. A lot of the wickedness that angered God was the constant worship of false idols and the sacrifices that were burning to them. Chapters 29 through 38, Jeremiah writes about the new covenant and the hope that God would bring when he delivers them after the captivity. King Zedekiah would not heed his warning and throws Jeremiah into prison, and eventually into a cistern. Nevertheless, Jeremiah warned that the king would fall into the hands of the king of Babylon. Chapters 39 through 52, Jeremiah records the events of the fall of Jerusalem in 586 BC. As many prophets had announced in the past, the empire of Babylon indeed began to lay siege and destroy Jerusalem and the land of Judah. This completes the exile of both kingdoms, the northern kingdom in 722 BC, and now the southern kingdom in 586 BC. As Jeremiah declared in 37:17, King Zedekiah was captured and his son murdered in his presence. He was blinded, bound, and dragged off to Babylon in captivity. In chapter 50, God promises to rescue his nation from captivity. In verse 17 through 18, God declares, Israel is a scattered flock, and the lions have driven them away. The first one who devoured was the king of I'm going to butcher these names, by the way, Assyria, and the last one who was broken his bones was the king of Babylon. Therefore, thus the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, behold, I am going to punish the king of Babylon and his land, just as I punished the king of Assyria. The capital of Assyria was destroyed so severely it was not discovered until the 19th century AD, which is that's pretty big. That's a pretty big destruction to be gone for, 100 years or however many. So that is the summary and the history that goes into the book of Jeremiah. And I hope you guys have a safe and healthy weekend leading into the second Sunday of Advent. And I will see you guys next Friday. Peace.